Hello, guys. Welcome to the FPL Gameweek 18 deadline stream. Happy Merry Christmas to every single one of you in the chat. I hope you guys have had a really good celebration. If you are celebrating, if you are not, I hope you had some good time off. I'm dressed in a bit of the festive occasion. I have the Santa hat. I also have the Christmas cup already, right? It's not with hot chocolate, but it's just plain water, but that will do, right? Cheers to all of you guys celebrating Christmas. I hope you guys have had a really good one. And it also happens to be a deadline, right? So it's Boxing Day deadline today. Usually there's lots of games on Boxing Day, but this season, it just with the way that the game is panned out in terms of the schedule, basically, there's only one game. There's only the Manchester United versus Newcastle game, which probably will be quite interesting to watch as a neutral because I'm a Chelsea fan. But yeah, usually there's more games, but it is what it is. On Saturday, there will be more of the Game Week 18 games as well. But yeah, so this is where we're at, the Game Week 18 deadline. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me say hi to some of you guys in the chat. Reverse Christmas tree. I'll talk about my team in a bit. I was kind of forced into this position though, but I'll get to that in a bit. First in the chat, Brad says, late Merry Christmas from Australia. Have a good one, Leon. Thank you very much. I hope you had a really good Christmas as well. Merry Christmas to you as well as your families, all of you guys in the chat, in fact. VJ says, hey all from sunny Watford, UK. Hope everyone had a great Christmas. Awesome, that's very nice. Same for Henry as well. Hello guys, Merry Christmas. Let's get all the Christmas festivities all in the chat while we're at it. For those of you guys who celebrate, Merry Christmas to all of you guys. I'll get to your questions in a bit. Henry says, who's a good option for captain? Is it Haaland or Ekitike? We'll get to that for sure. Why is my vice captaincy on Foden though? I have no clue why. Fixed it. It's probably still going to be Haaland for me though, but it is close. Will Frimpong start this week? I think Frimpong will start this week. Put it this way, if I was in a free hit, I probably will have Frimpong. But he's the kind of player that I don't think longer term I would have in my team. So it's definitely not a transfer in. But if you're on a free hit, I think it definitely makes sense. Kaiden, Merry Christmas to you. I'm 1974 says Chelsea fan turning off. Well, that's fine. Mandeep says, thoughts on Ekitike captaincy? I'm at 200k plus rank, so not sure if it's worth a risky punt on captaincy or to stay with Haaland. Just feel Wolves at home is the better fixture. Cheers and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well, Mandeep. Yeah, I mean, you got it spot on, right? Like, fixtures-wise, definitely Ekitike is the one that has the better fixtures. But what I'll also say is that I don't, in terms of projected points-wise, I mean, in terms of market odds, etc., Haaland is still, in terms of anytime scorer odds, higher than Ekitike. So, I mean, I usually tend to give some consideration. I mean, these are just numbers to use as, guiding numbers, I'd say, but I don't think Haaland is that far off, even though the fixture is not as good. So definitely fixture-wise, Ekitike is the one with the better fixture. But just in terms of how explosive he can potentially be, I think for me, Haaland is still captain. Though I think there's also a bit of thought in me that thinks about how Sean Dyche was set up this Nottingham Forest team against Man City. I think it's completely possible. That they try to park the bus a little bit, which then if it's a low block, I think it could benefit players like Foden a little bit more. But yeah, that said, I still back Haaland to do well though. So It is close. Another thing about Ekitike is what I'll say is the fixture is good, but some of the players that I think you would think are key to the Liverpool team, such as Dominic Szoboszlai, he won't be playing. Florian Wirtz had a bit of a injury scare, but he is likely to start. In Gameweek 18, so that should be fine. But yeah, either way, it's close. We'll do a bit of captaincy poll in a while. Bench Gehi or Senesi? That is close as well. I think I would lean towards. I probably lean towards starting Senesi. So that would be benching. Gehi. Top 3 Liverpool picks on a free hit. So it would be Van Dijk, it would also be Florian Wirtz, and then it'd be Ekitike. I think if I was on a free hit, I just chance on the fact that, maybe Florian Wirtz will get something here against Wolves. I mean, I do expect there to be goals here against Wolves. Due to the Bruno injury, I'm playing 5-2-3 this week. Hey, you know what? You've got a friend. Because I'm on a 5-2-3 as well. I'll talk about my team in a bit. Timber, Virgil van Dijk, Michael Keane, Joachim Anderson, and O'Reilly. So, okay, this I think is a great segue into my team. So let me just speak a bit about why I'm in such a situation. A 5-2-3 is definitely not what I was planning to go into Game Week 18 with. In fact, if you see on the bench, I have Bruno Fernandes. So basically, I was a victim of early transfers, and I very rarely make early transfers. But now that I've made an early transfer, I was just thinking to myself, Bruno Fernandes never gets injured. And in his whole career, he's only had one injury that one kept him out for maybe 1 to 2 games. And then obviously, once I make the transfer, the very next day, he goes on and pulls his hamstring in, I don't know, second injury, I would say, in his entire professional career. And he's out. And he's out probably until sometime in late January. So with that being said, I think Bruno Fernandes, who I brought in for Semenyo, is definitely someone I need to now waste the transfer to just transfer him out. I don't think my team is in a situation where I can afford to just delay and wait until Bruno Fernandes comes back, because he eventually will, but I think by that time there would be other ways to spend the money as well. So I'm pretty sure that come Game Week 19 I need to make a transfer to sell Bruno Fernandes. I'm looking at a couple of replacements from Game Week 19, and I think it would be the usual same suspects that you'd be looking at now in 18 as well. Players like Cunha, because his fixtures actually start to get good next week when they play Wolves. And then there's Anthony Gordon, who I'm also looking at, because from Game Week 19, he starts to go on a pretty decent run. It's Burnley, and there's a couple of home games in there as well, which I think is pretty important when it comes to looking at Newcastle assets. The only thing with Anthony Gordon is that he's not the kind that would get 90 minutes every single week. Now that I've looked at how Eddie Howe has kind of managed Anthony Gordon's minutes, they have perfectly good substitutes as well, like Harvey Barnes, Anthony Ilanga. All of them are great players to bring in. And you saw last week when it was 2-2 against Chelsea, the entire front three, right? Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon, and also Nick Voltemade, all of them came off and simply just replaced with Johan Wissa, Anthony Ilanga, and Harvey Barnes on the left. So, yeah, I mean, lots of things can happen, but for now, the two players I'm looking at for Bruno Fernandes replacements is Anthony Gordon and Matthias Cunha. I'd say Cunha is the more likely one that I go for, but yeah, we'll see. I also have thoughts further down the line about bringing in Cole Palmer. So eventually I will want Cole Palmer. And given that I've sold Saka now, I think there's a bit more room for me to play around and see how I want to get Cole Palmer into the team, because initially, without selling Saka, if he was still in the team, he would be a very easy swap from Saka to Cole Palmer by the time Game Week 24 comes around and Chelsea have that kind of fixture swing. So yeah, we'll play around with kind of the transfer tinkering as we go along. But yeah, let me get to my team proper before we answer your question. So because of that, because I brought in Bruno Fernandes for Antoine Semenyo, pretty much it's a dead spot now. And a side note as well is that I've used up all of my free transfers. I used up all 3. Bruno Fernandes was one. The other one was to bring Ekitike in for Raul Jimenez, and then downgrading Saka to Declan Rice so that I could afford all these moves. So yeah, that was initially going to look really good until it did not. Right, so it is what it is. And yeah, so I'm in a 5-2-3 now. You could argue that Rodon against Sunderland could be benched, and Anderson against Man City. Anderson, who's really good for defensive contributions. I could choose to start Anderson here. But I think Rodon's position against Crystal Palace was pretty interesting. Right, in the game that Leeds absolutely kind of decimated Crystal Palace 4-1, that game, he took up pretty decent positions. His heat map was quite interesting. So I think I want to take a chance here. Also, the fact that Leeds are kind of in a good vein of form right now, I don't think it's impossible that Rodon gets away with something. So let's see what happens. That's why I've kind of started him ahead of Anderson here. And the rest of the players kind of pick themselves, because Minte also has Arsenal away. That's not a great fixture. So 5-3-2, I'm hoping it's good enough to tide through Game Week 18. And I say this even though I just spent 3 transfers. It doesn't feel good. But yeah, from Game Week 19, I think we should be fine once I sell Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, let's get on with your questions. Seen a couple of responses as I was speaking, so let me quickly breeze through them. Stream started early. Yes, today we started early. I mean, it's a Christmas stream, so I thought we get prepared early and we come to say hi to some of you guys in the chat. So thank you all for coming down early. There's 88 of you guys already. Please drop a like. Please do subscribe as well if you are new here. And a Merry Christmas, a very Merry Christmas to all of you guys who celebrate. If you don't, then I hope you had some good time off of work as well. Ekitike captain. All right, let me just get captaincy out of the way first. We'll do a poll, and then we'll do a poll, and then we will talk about captaincy more towards the end of the stream. Game Week 18 captaincy poll. Let's do Haaland versus Forest away. Let's do Ekitike versus Wolves at home. And let's also let's put Saka in there. Brighton. And I'm going to leave a last option as other. And you can comment who is your captain. So let me know in the poll. For now, mine is on Erling Haaland. So let's see how it goes. Okay. What is your advice for Wilson owners? Play or bench? I think he's enough of a doubt for me to just bench him. I mean, it's a case where, if you're, okay, West Ham is a great fixture. And it's a case where I think if he's fit, he probably will start. So I take that back. I think you should start Wilson. And yeah, even if he just comes on, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? I've seen a few teams where the 11th player, like for my case, the 11th player is Rodon. I've seen a couple of teams as well. The 11th player is someone like Anderson, right? I mean, Anderson who plays Man City away, Elliot Anderson. So I don't mind it that you're kind of gambling as your 11th player on Wilson, on whether he'll start. I think it's fine. I think there is enough upside. If he starts against West Ham, I think he'll do well as well. So it's worth starting him. Just make sure that you have a good first bench option is what I do. Timber, O'Reilly, Anderson, Gehi, Senesi. How many and who do I play? I probably think that you could bench either one of Gehi or Senesi You could bench either one of them. Toby, nice to see you in the chat. It's a member for a really long time as well. Merry Christmas to you, Toby. Milton Kanga says, transfer Grealish or McAllister for the next 2 to 3 game weeks. I think Grealish is a player that no one has spoken about, or at least has gone pretty much under the radar. My thoughts on Jack Grealish is he is having really, really good fixtures, but I'll also say that a lot of the key players to the Everton squad are missing. Keenan Dewsbury-Hall out with a hamstring injury, Iliman Ndiaye in the African Cup of Nations. Same goes for Idrissa Gana Gueye as well. So pretty much you're kind of missing the core structure of your Everton team. And at the end of the day, Jack Grealish is also not someone with tremendous goal threat. He has greater assist threat, and he's relying on players like Barry or Beto to put away the chances that he creates, which is not ideal. And it's the main reason why I think he's not being mentioned as often as I thought he would be when I was looking at this fixture run earlier in maybe Gameweek 13, looking at when I want to bring Everton assets in, because Gameweek 18, their fixtures are really good. It's a shame, because if Keenan Dewsbury-Hall was fit, I think it'd be a very easy transfer in for a lot of people, and he would enable lots of other transfers as well. But now there's no real good cheap option to go for. If only Keenan Dewsbury-Hall was fit. It's really a shame, I'd say. Okay, I probably have to skip a couple of questions. I do apologize, but if I miss your question, please do help me out and drop it in the chat again. Who would you bench? Alderete, Guehi, or Bruno Guimaraes? I would probably bench Alderete. Sure, I heard something about Dyche teams versus Pep always being a massacre. Dre DG says, Merry Christmas, Leon. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thoughts on going Wirtz over Cunha as a Bruno replacement? Not exactly keen. I'd probably only go for Wirtz as a free hit, kind of a punt. I don't think Wirtz, especially looking at the number of shots he takes, he's not the kind of midfielder that is very keen on scoring. He doesn't take as many shots as someone like a Cunha. And at the end of the day, the majority of the points comes from those goal scorers, right? Assists, of course, can get you points, but goals get you 2 more points for midfielders. So I think I would go for Cunha as a replacement. Szoboszlai, keep or change with Gordon. So the thing with Szoboszlai is, from next week onwards, I actually think he also starts to be a good option again, because he's integral to the Liverpool team. He's pretty decent for DEFCON as well. He's picked them up in some games this season. Obviously, you've seen the form that he's been in recently. He's really good for minutes. I think Arne Slot really trusts him as well. He has lots of routes to points. He takes corners, set pieces, potentially penalties as well. So I'd say that Szoboszlai, honestly, from game week 19 onwards, he starts to be a good option. So if you don't have to make a transfer on him, you can keep him on your bench. I don't see a reason why you have to transfer him out for Gordon this week. Nico Potato says, I'm going to play bench boost, take a -8 because I have Renildo, Keenan Dewsbury-Hall, and Richard. Should I keep Wilson or take a -12? I think a -12 is a little bit too much to play just to get your team ready to play the bench boost. I'll probably keep it at a -8 and take a chance on Wilson, is what I do. If not, you can delay the bench boost. Take a look at your team for 19 and see if, because that is the last week that you can play the bench boost, have a look and see whether it's a better week to do it. Toby says, it's okay, FPL Harry did an early transfer as well. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, there's a lot of people who did early transfers hoping that, players like Bruno Fernandes, who rarely gets injured, stays fit. And obviously the way it turned out was just... when I saw the injury, I saw him holding his hamstring. I just knew, I think I caused it. I made the early transfer and I caused it. I broke Bruno Fernandes. I'm so sorry. Hincapi, hold or sell. Sub is weak this week. Rodon, Minte, and Giyu. I think If your first sub is Rodon, I think that's fine. And he's also not completely ruled out. He does have a shoulder injury, but yeah, it's still worth kind of holding for a little bit. Chalobah to Keane or Tarkovsky or Roll. I'd start Chalobah. Right, I think Chalobah is okay to start this week. Thank you very much for the plug, VJ. Appreciate that. Please like, subscribe, and share. Merry Christmas to you, VJ, as well. Craigman says, have a great rest of your Christmas. Same to you as well, Craigman. Appreciate that. Please do make a good bench boost team for Gameweek 19. Playing my last chip of the first half of the season. The thing with your bench boost, I think bench boost teams unfortunately don't really make sense because you can't be in a situation where you can choose exactly the best 15 players. It's more a case where who have you carried on from your previous weeks, and then does the bench look good enough to play a bench boost? So I don't actually think there's a best bench boost team. And for your case, if you are looking to play the bench boost in Game Week 19, it's probably going to be about trying to improve, spending a couple of transfers to improve some of your bench players. And yeah, just activating the chip. 1,095 points with 36k rank. That's incredible. Very, very nice. It's a great place to be at, 36k right now. I'm currently at kind of 700k. Not ideal. I was hoping to be in at least the top 500k for the first half of the season. Anything can happen. We'll see what happens. Maybe a Rodon bullet header. I'm not going to rule that out. Alan says, holding Saka and 2 Arsenal defenders. Worth downgrading Saka to Rice, find funds for Palmer, or wait till good Chelsea fixtures, target Chalobah first? I give a general answer to this. I'd say that Palmer is someone that I'm happy not to have until Game Week 24. Until Game Week 24, I don't think he is essential, and I don't think you have to go, tearing up your team or finding ways just to get him in. Obviously, if as you get closer to Game Week 24, you suddenly have the funds because of, other injuries whatsoever, and it's easy to get to Palmer, then obviously he becomes a good transfer. But I don't think he's the kind that you need to tear up your teams to bring in before Game Week 24. From Game Week 24 onwards, assuming he starts every other game and gets good minutes, I would say good minutes for Cole Palmer is at least 80 minutes, because he tends to get subbed off a little bit earlier if Enzo Maresca wants to manage him, which has been happening. If he gets at least 80 minutes in every single game that he starts from now until Game Week 24, I'm very sure that I will want Cole Palmer by the time that comes around. So worth kind of holding back a little bit. Don't really have to make any concrete plans, and yeah, we'll see what happens. What is your advice for Wilson owners? I would play, and I would have a good first bench option. Should I play the bench boost? I'll have to look at your bench. Should I start Raul Jimenez or Rodon? I would start Raul Jimenez ahead of Rodon. Would Enzo Lefebvre be a good pick against Leeds? Definitely. I think he's probably one of the better enablers right now to go for if you are transferring in. Not Nepo says, the worry is a cameo 1-pointer for Wilson. Yeah, well, I mean, the converse is also true that it could be possible he goes on a good haul if he starts this game. The thing is, it's going to be a huge string. It'll be a big gamble, I would say. But one that I think is worth starting Wilson. Bruno to Cunha worth a -4. I would say not this week if you have a good enough first bench option. For me, I'm just starting Rodon instead of Bruno Fernandes, delaying that transfer so that I don't have to take a hit for that transfer. AA Ong says, hi FPL Consult, start Senesi or Lacroix. I would start Senesi. I would bench Lacroix. Should I play the bench boost? Dubravka, Keane, Cash, and Obi. I think Obi probably won't play. So it's kind of a dead spot there. If you can upgrade Obi, I would do that so that you have all players who are starting on your bench. Merry Christmas to you, Akaz. Got Minte in your team. Thoughts on him? Minte for me is a player that I'm going to bench against Arsenal now in Gameweek 18. I will start him in 19 and 20 when he has decent fixtures. If I'm not wrong, West Ham is in the mix there as well. Let me just have a look. Yeah, so he has West Ham and Burnley in the next two. West Ham is away, and Burnley is at home in Game Week 20. But you can be very sure that from Game Week 21 onwards, he will be leaving the team. So I think Minte for now is fine to hold. I know he hasn't been doing extremely well, but I just don't see, him as someone that I need to rush to get out of the team. Samuel Su says, start one between Rodon, Stack, or Tavernier. I think it has to be Tavernier. Bench Gordon or Foden. I don't think you can bench either, honestly. Does the front three of Haaland, Ekitike, and Raul Jimenez sound good? For this week, I think it's fine. -8 to remove Saka, Enzo, and Raul to get Ekitike, Rice, and Chiesa. Or -4 to remove Thiago and Enzo for Ekitike and Enzo Lefebvre. I would say the -4. I would say the -4. Nico Potato says, gonna sell Richards, Keenan Dewsbury Hall, and Renildo, but I have to take a -8 for that. So should I sell Wilson for a -12 so I'm guaranteed for all to play? I mean, I think if you are using the bench boost, the ideal is that you want all your players to... Sorry, I forgot if you were on a bench boost or not. Let me scroll back. Give me a moment. Nico Potato. Let me scroll back. Yeah, you're on a bench boost. I kind of recalled that. So you're on a bench boost, and you're gonna take a -12. That doesn't feel very ideal though. Just to activate the bench boost, that doesn't feel ideal. I'd probably just use it next week. Please make a free hit for Game Week 19. Play my last chip of the first. Yeah. There will be a free hit for Game Week 19. I'll sort that one out. Who should I triple captain? Oh, this week. I think this week. I mean, it depends, right? It depends. You could. That's the thing for those of you guys who are waiting for Bruno Fernandes against Wolves to triple captain. I think now against Nottingham Forest is still not the worst time to triple captain Haaland. If not, I think Ekitike against Wolves is probably your next best option. Igor, Thiago, and Walter Martinez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Ekitike for a -8 hit. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has entered the chat. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the player that everyone brought in earlier on, around Game Week 8. I won't say everyone, right? Some people brought him in. Got a bit of stick for that. Goes on to blank, and then when they transfer him out ahead of his difficult fixture run, he goes on to score lots and lots of points. Every other week he's scoring, 1 return, 2 return every single week, mopping up bonus points as well. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is soon starting to become a real troll. But I can see the reason why you've done that. I think in and around that price bracket, he is probably the best one to go for right now. So I can see why you would take Thiago and Voltemata out for Calvert-Lewin and Ekitike, but I don't think it's worth a -8. And because of that, I think you're better off keeping Igor, Thiago, and Voltemata. Not forgetting that Voltemata actually has Burnley next week. WZX180 says, what's your free hit team for this week? Would you ever pick a defender heavy team? For this week, I think there's enough good fixtures for me to still go heavy on attackers. I think Wolves for Liverpool is worth attacking. I would also, there's lots of fixtures to target here, I would say. Burnley right? Everton, not ideal that you would want to go for any of their attackers, but it's worth punting on Jack Grealish for 1 week. Fulham versus West Ham, definitely some players you could go for in there. I think West Ham, you could even choose to go for Bowen on a 1 week punt. Sunderland versus Leeds, some enablers there for sure. And yeah, the usual suspects, right? Man City triple up, your Arsenal versus Brighton, some Arsenal defenders as well. Even Brentford versus Bournemouth. I actually think this is a fixture that Thiago could do well in. Bournemouth have been conceding lots of goals, and it's pretty much why I wasn't too keen on selling Thiago just yet. I had Thiago for a really, really long time. I brought him in sometime around kind of game week 9 and game week 10. I think game week 10 was more like it. I brought him in around game week 10, blanks, and then he goes on to get, 13 points against Newcastle and then 13 points against Burnley. Since then, it obviously hasn't looked good. But, I think the way that Bournemouth has been playing, and given that it's at home at the G-Tech, I'm still happy enough to keep him. Game week 19, it's also at the G-Tech, and it's against Spurs. So I'm happy to just see what happens with those two fixtures and then decide again. But yeah, so for your question, I think it's not worth a -8. I think I wouldn't do it. I apologize. For their free hit team, I think you can go heavy on attackers still. I wouldn't go defender heavy this week. What do you think about Semenyo transfer? I think he's not a must sell this week. He's not a must transfer out this week. What's your target rank? It will still be top 100k. I would say now that, initially in the previous seasons, aiming for top 10k is a good rank. But now, honestly, even top 100k is worth kind of, aiming for. It's not easy with how everyone is really, really engaged. There's, content on all different platforms. The standard FPL and also the number of players have significantly increased. So even right now, I'd say top 100k is perfectly fine as an aim. So I'm aiming for that. But ideally, I'd be more happy being in the top 50k. Anything more than that, I think I'm happy with that. Elfie Paveli says, 1 free transfer. Is it worth a move from Lacroix to Keane or Roll? Have to play them this game week. 1 free transfer. I think Lacroix to Keane is probably worth the transfer. I think I would do that. Sell Raya or Saka. Already have one Arsenal defender and feel like Raya can't get more than 6 points. This was the kind of trap that I fell into though in game week 8. The thing with Raya is that against any team, yes, he will probably only get 6 points, but over the long term, you'll be very happy to just have him to start every single week. And I can't say the same for other goalkeepers. So what I went for on a game week 8 wildcard was Nick Pope and Dubravka instead of going for Raya and Dubravka. That caused me to then have 2 Arsenal defenders, which is fine. But in those weeks where Newcastle didn't have good fixtures, Newcastle pretty much conceded. Right? And Nick Pope is not a player that I'm very happy to start every single week. But the thing with Raya is that I always fancy the chance of keeping a clean sheet. And more often than not, it happens. Right? So I would still say that you keep Raya and then you sell Saka. That's probably what I do. Even though I get the saying, I get the frustration around Raya not getting more than 6 points. To be fair, he got 7 points last week. 1 bonus point for Raya. Who to triple captain? Haaland or Ekitike this game week or someone for game week 19? You know what? If I was on a triple captain, I would be very tempted to just try and go a little bit rogue now because at the end of the day, the triple captainship is the one with the least, it is the one with the highest amount of luck involved, I'd say, because you're pretty much gambling here. You could obviously take calculated gambles, like people aim for the good fixtures, like for example West Ham last week for Haaland. There's also weeks earlier on against Burnley earlier on in the season. I think game week 5 some people went there. There's the one against Leeds that I went for, didn't really play off. But honestly, this week, I think because it's such a chip that you can gamble, why not just go for Ekitike? Right, and then hope that Haaland, doesn't do well. But I have Haaland as a captain here, but you get what I'm saying. I think it's worth gambling a little bit if I was on a triple captain. Saka hold or sell for Rice to plan for other moves. Not a must right now. Only if it enables much better moves elsewhere. Like for example, I went Raul Jimenez up to Ekitike. I think Ekitike is a player I definitely want for at least the next few game weeks. So Saka down to Rice enabled that. So if that is what you plan to do as your other moves, I think it's fine. Midfield of Cunha, Wilson, and Foden with Bruno Guimaraes as first bench. Kind of need to see the full team though, because I would be tempted to just try and start Bruno Guimaraes. How does the rest of the team look like? Guimaraes, Gehi, Calvert-Lewin, Wilson, and Senesi. Who should I bench? Only one. Probably Gehi then. Probably bench Gehi. Play Anderson or Wilson? I'll play Anderson. Sell Anderson for Keane? Definitely not. Rate my team and suggestion. Raya, O'Reilly, Hincapi, Anderson, Keane, Foden, Saka, Semenyo, Rogers, Ekitike. The team looks fine for this week. FPL Bamba, nice to have you in the chat. Yeah, I think team looks fine for this week. Neil says, would you play Anderson over Senesi? Other content creators are favouring Senesi, but surely West Ham is an easier fixture than Brentford. I also have Anderson against Man City, but he is last on my bench. Against Anderson versus Senesi, I'd actually start Anderson. I start Joachim Anderson ahead of Senesi. I'm in a dilemma whether to bring in Cunha or Rice for Bruno first. It is a -4 though. So what I'll say is if it's a -4, I will think about whether your first bench option is good enough to just start and then wait for next week to make that move. That's pretty much the position I'm in as well. If it's for a -4, I'd probably go Cunha still. Frimpong or Virgil this week. I'm wildcarding next week. Virgil still. Playing bench boost, have 5.6 million to get one defender. Was thinking Keane or Tarkowski. Thoughts or any suggestions? I'd say Tarkowski. Are you not worried about the most transferred in player curse with Ekitike and that he might blank this week? Well, I think the first player to break that curse was Phil Foden this season, right? Any update on Richards that you know of? If he doesn't start, I'll have to play Minte, and I have double Arsenal defense. I have 1.6 in the bank, could either sell Richards or Minte. The thing is, it's inconclusive from Glasner as to whether Richards will play. He just said it's a doubt, right? He got a bit of a scar that he has to, or a bit of an injury that isn't serious to the point where he's going to keep him out for very long. Even he himself went on Instagram and said he'll be back soon. But yeah, I think it's worth transferring him out because I don't think moving forward you need to have a Crystal Palace player in your team. So if I were you, if I had free transfers, 1.6 million in the bank, I think you could sell Richards. When is the last chance to play your last chip? Gameweek 19, next week. Frimpong or Virgil for this week. I am wildcarding next week and I will be using the bench boost this week. I think I answered this one. I still go Virgil. Minte reminds me of a Dinger as a pick. I know what you mean though. I had a Dinger last season. I know what you mean. Rodon or Adam Wharton? I'd say Rodon. Would you do Bruno to Potts to get money to switch Giu to Ekitike to have a front three of Haaland, Thiago, and Ekitike? Midfield would be Saka, Wilson, Foden, Potts, Potts and Stack. I think is cutting your midfield a little bit too thin. It's a little bit too thin, so I probably wouldn't do that. Consult use Anderson over Rodon, trust me. I quite fancy the chances with Rodon though. And what I'll say also about Rodon is that it's not impossible for him to get DEFCON points. Mr. Winter is going to score a hat-trick against Villa and FPL will go mad. Raya, Virgil, Timber, Anderson, Tarkowski, Foden, Saka, Gordon, Wilson. Yeah, I think that team looks fine. Yeah, you need to just kind of have a good first bench. I would say Rodon as your first bench. Since you asked how the rest of the team look, Timber, O'Reilly, Anderson, Gahey. Midfielders Foden, Wilson, Cunha. Strikers Haaland, Ekitike, Raul Jimenez. Benches. I see. I will start Senesi ahead of Gahey. That's one. And in your case, I probably would still start Wilson. I will have Bruno Guimaraes first bench. Yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah, I think then that's fine. Bench is Richards and Soboslai, and Potts. Not so sure I have any choices there. Okay. Then I guess you have to kind of make the transfer for Richards then. Should I play Rodon or transfer at Dewsbury Hall for a -4 to Enzo Lafay? Play Rodon. Not worth a -4 to make those transfers. Having a terrible season, got bench boost and free hit left. Bench looks better this week, but got 0 free transfers. Also got Nkapi and Wilson. What should I do? That is a tricky spot. I would say free hit. Because at the end of the day, I would prioritize the free hit. And this week, because you're kind of in a spot where you have quite a bit of injuries as well, just free hit and bench boost next week. Best midfielder under 5.5 to replace Bruno with. I'd probably say Enzo Lafay. Thanks for the answer on Richards. All good. VJ says almost 50 likes. Are we on almost 50 likes? Let's have a look. If you haven't dropped a like already, or if you're new to the stream, firstly, Merry Christmas to you. And please do drop a like in the stream. That one really, really helps the algorithm gods. And yeah, it helps the channel as well. We are on 49 likes. We're in 49 likes. Can we just get one more? That'd be awesome. It's 50 likes now. All right. We're done for the day. We can end the stream. Call it a day. Wrap it up. No, I'm kidding. This Santa is a little bit tight, I have to say. Got the Christmas cup as well. So a bit of backstory on the Christmas cup is, for those of you who know, I went to Austria, basically. I went to Austria and Italy for a bit of a 2-week trip around Gameweek 12, so the end of November. And yeah, it was a great trip. Went to lots of Christmas markets. And yeah, stumbled on this really nice cup. I brought it back. I think it is the biggest Christmas market in Austria, for those of you who know that. So yeah, it was really, really cool. And yeah, so I brought it back as a souvenir. So it's been with me since, and I thought it was a good time to bring out the Christmas cup for the Christmas stream. Sounds like an ASMR stream. I guess my mic is just really, really sensitive to all the sounds. Let me know if you can hear when I kind of drink the water. Let me know if you guys can hear that. That'd be insane. I didn't know the mic could pick it up all the way. Is selling Saka to Rise a good or bad move? It depends what you're gonna do with the funds after that. Merry Christmas, my goat. Merry Christmas to you as well, Martin. Got a bench 2. Enzo, Reinders, Mukiele, Hincape, Chalobah, Vandenberg. That's tricky. I think that's probably just enough for me to want to bench. Man, it's a tricky spot there. Probably bench one. I won't start all the defenders for sure. You have Mukiele, Hincape, Chalobah, as well as Vandenberg. I mean, I look at the ones that are good for DEFCONs as well. Like Hincape is great for DEFCON. I don't know if he'll start though. But I will still start him in the team. I would probably bench Vandenberg. And I'll start Mukiele, Hincape, Chalobah. And then it'd be between one of Enzo and Reinders that I would bench. Okay, I probably have to kind of speed through the questions. If I miss your questions, I do apologize. Please do type it in the chat again. Is an Everton defender better than Sunderland's defender? This week, I'd say yes. Spurs have problems as their playmaker and captain are suspended. Can't Palace make a clean sheet? I think it's possible, but what I'll also say is that Palace have played lots of games recently. They've played lots and lots of games recently. It's a tight schedule for them. So I just think that it'll catch up with them. And against Spurs, it's possible. It's possible that they'll concede. I think it's more likely they will concede. Kai Harvard-san, 8,000 says Majula Singapura. Indeed. Why not swap Anderson with Minte? I prefer the fixture for Anderson. Captaining Cole Palmer, he's going to score a hat-trick and the whole FPL will go wild. I hope that works out for you. Sounds like an ASMR stream. Yes, can hear the gulp and also you licking your lips. Water drinking ASMR. Maybe we should kind of pivot the channel a little bit and do some ASMR content. I didn't know the mic was able to pick that up. Why do you say souvenir like that? Is that not how I should say it? Souvenir? Souvenir? Remedian says, do you happen to watch some football matches while you were there in Austria or Italy? Unfortunately, no. You know, something interesting is that I was there on the weekend that it was the derby between Inter Milan and AC Milan. I think that would have been crazy if I was able to make it, but yeah, just traveling schedules just didn't work out, unfortunately. But I'll be back, and I'm definitely gonna try and catch a game if I'm able to. Saka, Rice, Wirtz, and Shirky in the midfield. How about this? For this week, I think that looks like a great midfield. I think that looks great for this week. Is Wilson still good or should I just sell him? It depends. If you are in a position where you have to start Wilson and then you have no good first bench option, I don't mind selling Wilson. Sell Bruno and Saka for Cunha and either Rice or Rodgers to bring in Ekitike for a -4 to have a front three of Haaland, Ekitike, and Thiago. I would say that I don't mind it, But I would also say that I don't think I would go for Rodgers now because the fixtures are not ideal. It's Chelsea away, Arsenal away. Front three of Haaland, Ekitike, and Thiago does look good. I've gone for that, but my sacrifice was to go for Saka down to Rice in order to enable that. So if you're selling Bruno, I think that could be delayed one week if I look at your team. Rice or Rodgers? I prefer Rice. I'm bench boosting this week, but Richards is injured. I have 2 free transfers. Should I save them or transfer Richards to someone else? Transfer Richards to Michael Keane. That's what I do. Joseph says, why aren't you selling Bruno? I'm in a spot where I don't have any more free transfers, unfortunately. I made the mistake of moving early, and now Bruno Fernandes is injured. So I will sell him next week, just not this week. The difference in price between Keane and Alderete is 0.7 million, contemplating which one to pick to replace Richards. Michael Keane. I'll go Michael Keane. Daylon King says, I was lining up a bench boost for this week. Now I have injuries. Would you do Bruno to Cunha and Richards to Keane or Tarkowski for a hit to have a full 15? For a hit just to have full 15, yes. Anything more than that, like a -8, -12, I think it starts to make the bench boost a little bit less appealing already. So yeah, I'll make the move. I would do Bruno to Cunha and Richards to Keane. Depends how else you need to use the funds. If you need the money elsewhere, I think Richards to Keane and then having that cash elsewhere makes sense. Square Cube says, start both Mukiele and Alderete or start Anderson with one of them. I think start Anderson, one of them. Kind of split the risk a little bit. If you still have Saka instead of Rice, would you still sell or keep Saka? I would still probably sell Saka. I just think that the funds right now can be used elsewhere. I've always felt like, famous last words, I don't want to jinx it as well, but I've always felt that Saka this season has not actually justified the 10 million-ish price tag. Like, I went for him earlier on already. I've had him for a couple of those double-digit hauls. Happy enough with that. There was even a week that I captained him and he got a double-digit haul. But the thing is, at that kind of price point, I'm expecting a lot more. And Declan Rice has had his fair share of routes to points. He takes, those free kicks that he can take. He takes set pieces that Arsenal are very good at scoring from. He has good DEFCON potential. He has things with Declan Rice that I think is slightly different from Bukayo Saka is that he also plays slightly more centrally. I know obviously Saka is playing on the wing and he can cut in and score. But yeah, I don't think that the price difference between Saka and Rice is worth going for Saka, spending that extra money because you don't get correspondingly extra points, is what I'll say. And the fact of the matter is that he's not 100% on penalties. Like Saka, as Arteta has said already, Saka, Odegaard, and also Gyökeres, they decide on the pitch. They decide at that point in time, when the penalty is given, who is the most confident or who is the best to take it, and then, among the three, the one who is the most confident would take it. So I say that it's not guaranteed for pens as well. So at that kind of price point, I need to be expecting that kind of returns, that kind of certainty with penalties as well, right? So, and that's what you get with Cole Palmer, because once he's on the pitch, he will be taking penalties if Chelsea win a penalty. So it's just, things that I think right now just not going in Saka's favor, and that's why I still favor the move to sell Saka to Rice. Is it time to stack transfers? I'll keep making a transfer a week. Any good players coming up? I think this is a very, very much team-dependent question. There are teams out there who are in a position where you can stack transfers. Then I would say, if you can, continue to stack transfers because it is the festive period. Players will get injured. Bruno Fernandes, who never gets injured, has gotten injured. So it is that kind of time right now. If you have more transfers, it's always an advantage. It's never a disadvantage. And the fact of the matter is that the African Cup of Nations 5 free transfers have now passed. We're not going to get another tranche of free transfers. The next time you can make wholesale changes to your team is probably your next wild card. So if you're in a spot where you don't have any clear transfers to make, roll. It's perfectly fine. And you could be further down the line in quite an advantageous spot because you can do a mini wildcard with your free transfers. And then after that, later down the line, closer to the double game weeks, for example, use your wildcard. So it can only be advantageous is what I'll say. On a bench boost, Wilson to Cunha for free. Bench of Dubravka, Keane, Enzo Lefebvre, and Senesi. Yes, I would. Bench 2, Virgil van Dijk, Chalobah, Lacroix, Xhaka, and Keane. I would bench Lacroix. And I would also bench Xhaka. Just finished Lincoln Lawyer in 3 days. I haven't actually watched it though. Is it any good? Snacks 9294 says, easy one for you, mate. Start Potts or Anderson from Fulham. I do have Bowen. I will start Anderson. Defcon points. It's simple as that. What do you think of Ekitike captain as a punt? I don't mind it at all. While we're at it, poll is at 337 votes. Haaland is on 61. Ekitike is on 34. I mean, it is what I expected, that Haaland will still be kind of the favorite, but I don't mind it. For those especially chasing rank, chasing mini leagues, for example, I don't mind Ekitike captain. I've always been someone that ignored Saka in place of an additional Arsenal defender in previous seasons. Went with Saka this season, but after he lost his penalties, I'm looking to go with 3 Arsenal in the back. To be fair, the fixtures moving forward are not the kind that I would say you need to go triple Arsenal, is what I'd say. Thank you very much for gifting a membership. VJ, you are absolutely a legend. And yeah, congratulations to Mr. Eternal 38 for getting the membership. So thank you very much, VJ. It's a bit of a Christmas present from VJ, is what I'd say. While you're on that as well, let me just check if I'm able to gift out membership. I'm able to gift 5 memberships. So let's do it. Let's do 5 memberships that I'll gift out at the end of the stream. Let's do a bit of a Christmas giveaway. So at the end of the stream, I'll be ending in about 5 minutes or so. I'll let you guys kind of spam in the chat because I think that allows you to have a higher chance of getting the memberships. I think that's how it works. And yeah, count it as my Christmas gift to all of you guys who have been supporting the channel all this while. I really appreciate it. All the likes, all the comments, watching the videos even. It just really, really helps the channel. During Christmas period as well, I digress a bit, but I usually like to take stock of where I've been in this creator journey. And I've made content for about 4.5 years now. And where the community is at, where the channel is at, it's always been something that I'm very, very thankful for. So I appreciate, again, if I haven't mentioned it already, all the views, all the support, all the likes. I genuinely will not be here today without you guys. So let's do it in a bit. I'll wrap up some of your questions as well, and then we'll do the memberships. Okay, I get it. So in the future, when triple Arsenal rises, yeah, I think that's fair. With Branthwaite, Branthwaite looks like he's coming back. Is Keane a good pickup for 3 to 4 game weeks? I still think Keane is fine for 3 to 4 game weeks. But yeah, pretty much Branthwaite will be coming back soon. He will be coming back soon, so at least for the next 3 to 4, as you mentioned, I think it's fine. Yeah, I see all of that. You guys are excited for the memberships. You know what? Yeah, I think we could do it very, very soon already. Let me just wrap up one last question. Ultimata, Haaland, Thiago up front. Do you think I really need Ekitike? I have 2 free transfers. Nah. I think Voltemara next week against Burnley is going to be a differential as well. Azam says, you're a real MVP. Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Spam in the chat if you would like a membership. Spam whatever you want. If you are fine with letting me know, let me know in the chat as you're spamming where you're watching from, because I want to know where you're enjoying the holidays, where you guys are watching from as well. It makes me, understand my viewers a little bit more as well. So spam in the chat, go crazy. I'm gonna give you guys a minute or 2, and then let's give out the memberships. Let's do it. UK, Singapore, Kenya, very, very nice, Joseph. Pakistan, England, Sweden, very nice. Barcelona as well. Tiong Bahru, amazing. Norway, Kuala Lumpur, Japan. Square Cube says Singapore. Lovely. Thank you all of you guys for the support, by the way. I really, really appreciate it. Nepal. That's interesting. Zimbabwe. Very, very cool. Isak Bolton says Ghana. Indonesia for Madian. Indonesia for Henry as well. Very, very nice. Not Nepo says also in Tiong Bahru. Very nice. Incredible. USA, Uganda, Surrey, Ghana. Very, very nice. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds. 30 seconds, just spam whatever in the chat. Let's do the memberships. It's been a fun stream as well. Thank you all for making my Boxing Day. I hope you guys have had a great stream as well. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Drop a like if you haven't already. We're ending the stream, but it's always any time to drop a like. Why is everyone in Tiong Bahru? All right. Oh, Hopper Villa. Really nice. Okay. This is it. Get your last ones in. I am going to... Neil says, thanks for the stream. Thank you for tuning in. I am going to give the memberships right now. Okay, so let's go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Send 5 memberships. It's loading. Let's go. 5 memberships. Whoever gets it, congratulations to all of you guys. Alex Sweet, Fernando, Ian, and Andrew Barton. Not to worry. I have 10 more. Sorry, not 10 more. I have 5 more. And guess what? I'm going to give all 5 as well. So continue spamming in the chat. I have 5 more to give away. I have total 10. So continue. Don't give up. Continue spamming in the chat. Okay, I'll give you guys another 30 seconds. Chat's going crazy. Incredible. All right, we're gonna do it. 3, 2, 1. 5 memberships. Let's go. Announced in the chat. Let's see who gets it. It's going too fast. It's going too fast. I can't even see. All right. So we're going to leave it at that. Congratulations to all of you guys who have gotten your memberships. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in as well. Today's stream was really, really fun. Again, Merry Christmas to all of you guys who celebrate. For those of you who don't, I hope you guys have had a good break as well. And yeah, all the best for Game Week 18. There will be more content from Game Week 19 onwards, of course. And yeah, there will be my transfer plans coming up soon. I'm sure I will have to tinker quite a bit as well because my Bruno Fernandes injury is still very much there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. All the best for Game Week 18. And I'll leave it at that. All the new members, congratulations. I'll see you guys in the chats if you guys want to join it. If not, I will see you in more Game Week 19 content coming very, very soon. Merry Christmas, everyone.